Everybody. I am Hoarder Gamer, and usually with me we have a true Flash who unfortunately has a family emergency right now, so not available for this interview. We are going to be interviewing Hero Mentor, the founder of the League of Valiants. Hello, Hero. How you doing?
How's it going? I'm doing fantastic.
That's great to hear. Excellent,
Isn't
excellent.
it?
Now I'm going to guess that your full name isn't Hieronymus Mentorkowski. Define what Hero Mentor means.
It's funny that you said that because that's actually a really good guest. So I'm very thankful that you shared that with me because a lot of people might be confused with that. All right, so Hero Mentor was actually oh geez, hello. Hero Mentor was not really a name per se, but I'm a former youth mentor of about 9 years where I would just help youth find their heroes and help them through bullying, depression, dealing with neurodivergency, and much more. And during a session with one of my male heroes that I was mentoring, he said, "You're like the hero mentor helping us find our heroes." And when I was figuring out a way to bring my Twitch streaming to life, because with COVID hitting, I couldn't do public speaking. I couldn't do. It was really hard to do what I did best in that situation where I'm like, okay, well, I can't speak to people publicly, but I still love, the idea of speaking.
Mhm.
And then I just started realizing, like, you know what? This is the best time than ever to play video games. Why not start streaming as well? So when I was building my streaming brand, if you say, I was trying to find like a very original and unique name.
Sure.
And there's a lot of heroes on Twitch. Not gonna lie to you, there's a lot of hero space yada yada yada. But Hero Mentor was not being used anywhere. So I was like, you know what? That's what's gonna be. Not only is it unique, it's also very sentimental to me. But that's what originated Hero Mentor. And I just feel it's like the name still says Steve Orlando. Of course it does, but I will fix that. But that is the origin of Hero Mentor.
See, that's something you can't blame on me, Flash. I don't have any control over that. So,
That is what you can do to blame on me directly. I thought I
so
changed that.
with a hero mentor, does that also mean the existence of a villain mentor?
There might be one out there.
Mm.
There might be. I don't want to meet that person
I wouldn't
because
either want to. Yeah, because basically they'd be out to make more villains, I would guess, or like the mentor
yes.
villains. Yeah.
Thanks, Flash. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Fixed. But yeah, I hope there's not a villain mentor. Maybe like my branding may motivate someone to do that because internet's full of a lot of trolling, but it might happen.
You might create your own Joker or something. Who knows? Hopefully, it's more like
uh,
the slapdash Joker that like plays pranks and not like the scary Joker.
like a friendly one. I would
Yeah,
like a.
almost a friendly Joker.
Is there
Yeah.
a friendly Joker? There might be now.
Well, in the '60s, he was sort of more like goofy and doing pranks and stuff than he was, killing people. A
That's
different version.
I got it. I got it. He was like the literal version of a Joker as opposed to like this new one
Yes,
where.
the clown prince of crime. Yeah, it was mostly like robberies and stuff for the most part. Okay, let's talk wrestling. When
Oh
did you
jeez.
become interested in the sport of wrestling?
I never like when I was it was around 4 or 5 years old. If it wasn't for the situation or the story I'm about to share, I probably never would have even got into it. But my father befriended a wrestler who was wrestling for Stampede Wrestling at the time, and we started going to wrestling shows. He was booked to wrestle on a live WWF event. Sorry, it wasn't live. It was being taped. It was being taped to go live on a separate day. And he said, "I'll bring you and Dave." And my dad's like, "Sure, let's do it." And like I said, I wasn't really into it at that age. However, being there live in person, seeing Hulk Hogan, seeing Ultimate Warrior, seeing Randy Savage, Iron Sheik, Ted DiBiase, all these big legends, and seeing them in the audience, it was just a it was like as a 4 year old, it was like watching comics in real life. Like these larger than life characters. Like when I saw Ultimate Warrior making his entrance and Hulk Hogan making his entrance, I was immediately hyper fixated. Like, okay, this is insane as a young child to see Ultimate Warrior in person, Hulk Hogan. But then after the show, I was able to go backstage and meet the wrestlers,
Oh
and
wow.
I was petrified of Hulk Hogan. My dad said I don't really remember it at all, to be honest with you, because it's so long ago, because I'm so old now. But when my dad said when we went backstage and Hogan came to me, I actually ran behind my dad's legs, like shaking, like I was scared. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. The guy's 6'8", 6'9", and over 300 freaking pounds. Of course, I'm gonna be scared as a small 5-year old kid to see him.
Yeah.
But that was like the immediate shot of adrenaline for me, and from that moment until the age of 20, when I had to leave the industry and no longer partake physically in the ring. So for 16 years, that was like my hyper focus. That's all I wanted to do. It's all I was. Every decision I made growing up was for that. Like, for example, I joined football in high school to help me lose weight and to get
Hmm.
into shape to prepare for wrestling training.
Wow,
But
that's clever.
that's how I
Yeah.
got into it. And then
Very brave.
I became friends with Owen Hart and Davey Boy Smith when I was younger, because
Wow.
they would frequent a gym here in Calgary called BJ's Gym. It's where all the wrestlers would go and train. So my with my buddy Kenny Johnson training with Stampede Wrestling and wrestling with them, that's where he would train. So every not like every weekend, but at least one weekend a month, I would go to BJ's Gym and hang out with Owen and Davey if they were there. Then I befriended a young man named Matthew Annis. He was the brother of, or sorry, he is the brother of Teddy Hart. And we would always wrestle in the ring while my dad and Kenny were working out. Unfortunately, though, when I was 10 years old, Matthew would pass away when he was 13 due to flesh eating disease.
Mm.
And it all happened so fast. Like, I understand shows like Chicago Med have had episodes directed towards flesh eating disease,
Yeah.
and they say how it's so fast, but when you experience it in real life, it truly is fast. Within 2 weeks, he was gone.
Oh my
It all
God.
it all started off with like him having flu-like symptoms and pain in the groin area, and then he went to the hospital. And then within a couple of days to a week, he lost his right arm, or I can't remember if it was left or his right arm, but
Oh
he
my
lost an
God.
arm. Then he lost a leg, and then they said that he just passed away. And I was like, at 10 years old, that was my first really confrontation with death, and it was horrifying because it all happened so fast. And then we would lose Owen Hart, then we would lose Brian Pillman, then we would lose Davey Boy, then we lost Stu Hart, and then Helen Hart. Like, it was nonstop. It was hard growing up, but when Matthew passed, it motivated me much more to be like, this is what I want to do, because Matthew was also trying to become a wrestler as well, and he was so damn good in the ring. He could have been like, we all agree that he probably would have been a huge star because he was so good. So when he passed away, it was kind of like it motivated me, but at the same time, it didn't allow me to go to BJ's Gym and have the same experience, because
Sure.
when I would go to the gym, him and I would play. There was always a Pac-Man arcade game that we would play together. So I remember when I went to the gym after he passed, and I was like, Dad, I can't do this. I'm like, without Matthew here, it feels really wrong, and it feels uncomfortably different, if you want to say that. Like, it just, so I stopped going after I was going for about 5 or 6 years to the gym frequently, and I was like, no, I'm done. Like, I can't go no more. And it basically altered my life tremendously psychologically, and even to this day, like, this happened in '96, and even to this day, I'm just like, man, like, it happened so fast. But that's how I got into it, and I started officially training when I was 19 years old. It
Okay.
was a rough start. I went to a training seminar in Edmonton, Alberta, from Monster Pro Wrestling, just a 2 day seminar on my 20th birthday. Sorry, my
Okay.
19th birthday. My
Okay.
19th birthday, and the ring canvas had holes in it. And at the time, my adrenaline was so high, I didn't really care about it until I went to go take an arm drag, and my foot got caught in a hole of the canvas, and I landed right on my neck. And I felt the pain, but when you're training, you're in that mindset of go go go. So I trained for 2 days without without feeling the pain. But I remember when I was on the bus ride home from Edmonton to Calgary, I had no control of my neck. I couldn't hold it up. It just kept falling. And me being a stubborn athlete, because in football I would suffer 3 concussions, dislocated shoulder, and I just was always trained, don't complain, fight through it. Are you hurt or are you injured, right? That's always the popular question. Are you hurt or
Sure.
are you injured? You always say you're hurt because that means you can still play.
Hmm.
But I went to the doctor after about a week and a half, and he's like, yeah, you suffered a really bad neck injury.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I was like, well, that's exciting. What's the recovery? And he's like, a couple months. I'm like, no, I took a week off.
Okay.
And I went back and started wrestling again. I got concussions. Then I got re-injured my neck, to a surprise of nobody really. And then I took a little bit of a break after coming back from Edmonton. Took like a week off, like I just said. But then I was like, where can I go from here? I'm in the city of wrestling. Like Calgary, Alberta is the city of wrestling. I'm like, there has to be somewhere I can go. Then I found out that Stampede Wrestling legend, NWE alumni Bad News Brown, aka Bad News Allen,
Ah.
had a wrestling school here in Calgary. And I was like, done. I'll go to him. So I went to him for about 3 months. And in that class, we also had current WWE superstar Jinder Mahal. He was part of our
Wow.
training class as well as Gama Singh Jr. And I will say this, that Jinder is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. One of the
Cool.
nicest guys. Works his ass off. Like, one of the nicest guys. So I spent 3 months training with Bad News. I suffered 2 concussions there. One was I was taking a move called the Heart Attack, which was made famous by Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And when I took it, the guy clotheslined me so hard that his palm struck my temple. And I was like, I knew I was concussed, but once again, we're trained to just work through it. I ignored the signs of my concussion. I was dizzy. I had an instant headache. I was like, no, I'm good. And then I took a move called a DDT, and I spiked
Oh.
myself, and I was knocked out. And then I took a couple of days off, came back, and I don't remember the situation because I hit my head so hard. But my best friend Jesse, who I do the podcast Attack the Mat with, he said what happened was I was going for what's called over the top rope senton, which is like a flip over the top rope to the outside of the ring. We had a
Okay.
crash. We had a crash mat, but from what Jesse told me, when I went over, I went straight down on my head on the apron, and the apron is the toughest part of the ring. So when I hit my head on that, it immediately concussed me, and I don't remember it at all. So yeah, those were my 3 concussions in wrestling,
Wow. Okay.
and they were pretty severe and pretty serious. So ultimately, I would only train for 1 year because concussions took me out, shoulder injuries took me out, back injuries, neck injuries. I went into the industry with a tremendous amount of injuries, so I wasn't expecting it to go far, but I knew for a fact that if I didn't try, I would regret that. Because
Sure.
I spent 20 years trying to pursue this dream, so I was like, I gotta try it, even though I knew with my laundry list of injuries that I probably wouldn't go far. But I was only training for a year. I trained with my good friend Tyson Kidd, who's a current producer now at WWE, former tag team champion. I trained with my friend Davey Boy Smith Jr. I trained with Natalia. I trained with Jinder Mahal. I trained with a good. I was about to train with Lance Storm, but then that's when the end of my career happens. So I don't know if you want to jump into that, but
Okay.
my career ended on my 20th birthday. It
Oh
was
wow.
I,
Less than a
I
year.
I jokingly call it my birthday beats. It was January 22nd, 2006. My last time in the ring was January 17th, 2006. I just trained with Tyson Kidd. Um, and then I was waiting for my ex-wife in a section of our city of Calgary at like 11:30 at night. It was dark. My security training experience said, hey, wait in the well lit main street side of the church. I was like, all right, I'll be safe there.
Sure.
While I was there, my ex wife was in the back portion of the church, not realizing we were there at the same time. And it was such a surreal situation because 3 drunk males were smashing car windows with a shovel. Now, I didn't know that they were smashing windows of vehicles with a shovel. All I know is that when I saw them, they were walking past me and they were taunting me. And I was like, just don't engage, but don't look like a weakling. Just don't engage. And if I do, just, be standoffish. But they just kept walking. I was like, cool, whatever. And within like 5 minutes, two of the three came back with the shovel and they had a glass mug. And I was like, uh-oh. I knew where this was going. I knew something was going to happen. And they came to me and it's like all in pieces of what happened, which is what happens when you have concussions. It's just like you remember things, but it's all pieces. And I remember one of them saying, "Why won't you say hi to us?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know who you are." And
Hmm.
after that, the memories fade because that's when I was hitting the head with a shovel 3 times, and I
Oh
was
my
hitting
God.
I was hitting the face with the A&W glass mug. So my top lip was cut wide open and fat like Donald Duck. It was like a beak. I remember I ran to my ex-wife's parents' house, which would be the first time I met them. So you can imagine how he was with just strange guys at his front door covered in blood saying, "I need help." And then I remember going to the hospital and the doctor's like, "You have suffered at that moment my 12th severe concussion." And he's like, "You can't wrestle no more." And I was like, wow, my dream literally was robbed from me. And that set me into a massive depression. It was my
Sure.
second battle with suicidal ideation. And I was like, you know what? What the hell do I do from here? I spent 16 years chasing this. I had no backup plan. I wasn't thinking of, well, if this doesn't work out, I thought if I can't make it in the ring, I can do something else, like maybe refereeing or managing or even running a show or something. But I never thought of this happening. Like I knew I had 3 concussions in the ring and I had 3 concussions in football. And this was my 12th concussion. So I knew I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of agree with the doctor. Like I can't do this because pro wrestling is very high risk with concussions.
Yes.
But to have it taken from me, I was like, I can't tolerate that. Like that's what brutalized my mental health the most was the fact that it wasn't my own decision to be like, I'm done. And that's how I was able to relate to superstars like Edge and Daniel Bryan, aka Bryan Danielson, when they had to announce that they were retired. I'm like, you know what? I understand how that feels. Not at the level that they do, because they've been
Sure.
WrestleManias, but I understand being told you can't do this no more. And it's like, wow. So I took a lot of time. And I remember I told my closest friend Charmaine, I was like, Charmaine, I want to end my life. I'm like, I have no idea what to do. This is all I wanted to do. This is my entire life. This is what my best friend Jesse and I built our friendship on was wrestling. Like we were chasing wrestling together. So I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I have no other passions. And thankfully she was like, Dave, just keep moving forward. Something will happen that will change your life forever. But this way you'll actually be able to see that moment is. And I'm like, whatever. When you're in a negative suicidal mindset, no matter what people tell you, it's hard to comprehend what they're saying and take it as true value.
Yes.
And thankfully, I eventually said, you know what, fine, I will figure out something else. Then I became a father. And that's what the moment was. That's where she was telling me, eventually something will happen that will change your life forever. And I was like, that was it. So 2 years later, I became a father, and I was like, all right, I can safely say that becoming a father saved my life because that gave me a whole new focus,
Sure.
a whole new level of drive. And I was like, okay, I have a son now. What the hell do I do with my future? And when I was 18, my father was like, Dave, you need to get a damn job. I'm like, yeah, you're right, I do.
Ah.
So I took a job for the summer being a security officer for what's known as the Calgary Stampede, which is the world's largest outdoor show on earth. Um, and I got into my first brawl in security where a guy was urinating on the property, and I told him to stop, and then he just immediately started fighting with me, and I was like, "Whoa, that was a massive adrenaline rush. I loved it."
Ah.
And so that became my focus. I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do security, and I'll chase policing." Not realizing that after a couple of years of doing security, the former chief of police, Rick Hansen, would talk to me and he'd say, sorry, Dave, due to your concussions, due to your shoulder surgery, you won't be able to pass the medical.
Ah,
And I was like, you know what? I kind of prepared for that, but you can't prepare for things emotionally. Like, you just don't know
sure.
how you're going to respond. So that's when I was like, all right, I can't do policing either now. So I would spend about 8 years of my life taking security very seriously, like Paul Blart. I loved it. It was my job. It was my future. And then came 2011 when I would suffer my 15th concussion and have no memory of it because it was that bad of a concussion. I was in the hospital. I would then end up going to brain injury rehab for 5 months, learn how to walk again. I was battling severe dizzy spells, severe dizziness, headaches, memory loss, emotional instability, suffered suicidal ideation again because I lost my policing and security career. So once again, I was like, now what the hell do I do? Like, now I can't do wrestling, I can't do policing, I can't do security, which at that time was 20 plus years of my life.
Hmm.
And then I accidentally stumbled upon public speaking and fell in love with that. And since then, I've been doing mental health advocacy and just working with Unsinkable and many other opportunities I can get to do public speaking and youth mentorship. So it's just, it reminded me that a lost dream or a lost passion does not equate a lost life. It
Okay.
just means that you have to close that chapter and move on, because battling suicidal ideation as much as I have done. There we go. That sounds a lot better. And losing 5 friends to suicide, it's just it gives you a whole new mindset on life where, you know what, I'm going to drop the one swear word aloud. Shit happens.
Sure.
Unfortunately, you are not guaranteed success in your passion. You're not. It's just, unfortunately, it's, you can work as hard as you want, but some things may come up where it's like, you know what, this has been the card that's been dealt with you, and the only thing you can do is have the power of adaptation, which is what I started speaking about when I was going to schools and stuff to talk, was just the ability to overcome
Hmm.
whatever is thrown at you with the drive that your life has value. And that was when my life changed, was when I realized no matter what loss I suffer, no matter what struggle I have, my life still has value with it. I'm
Yeah.
a father of 2 kids. You know, I have a fiance. I have every reason to live, but there's also that those times where depression kicks in or anxiety kicks in, and you just have to go through that whole struggle again of like, okay, you know what? I'm not worthless. Struggles do not diminish my worth. I have value. And that's the one thing I took from this whole terrible life experience that I had, was regardless of what happens, the focus of the value that my life has truly keeps me moving forward.
And all the things you went through during your life and everything, that might have been leading you to doing podcasting and public speaking. That might have been just the bizarre, twisty road to get to that, as that, that seems to be something you really enjoy.
Totally. I always had a vision of just entertaining people. I
Hmm.
wanted, because I was someone who dealt with depression and suicide and most importantly bullying throughout my life. I always felt as if I had no place in the world. Like, I always felt like I didn't belong anywhere. And so the moments I had to make people laugh, it's I don't like to say it, but it's the truth. Robin Williams
Mm,
was battling depression so badly,
yes.
but his ability to make people laugh gave him value. Like, it's that's what he put value into, is I want to help people laugh because I struggle with laughing.
Yeah.
So when I had the ability to go and speak to the students, which I'm not going to lie to you was scary, because I disliked class presentations. I didn't like being in front of the class, hated it. But now here I am in my early 20s, now my mid 30s, craving to speak to kids. And it's funny how life, just has that way of like, hey, by the way,
Hmm.
this might be a hidden blessing for you. I never once thought I would fall in love with public speaking, because I was petrified of public speaking. But it all comes down to exiting your comfort zone. Like, you have to do it. Like, if you're living a life of comfort, you're not living a life that is going to get you where you want to go. Like, you have to exit that comfort zone and you have to take risks. And I'm not saying, go skydive without a parachute. I'm just saying, if your dream is this, you may have to do this, which you may
Hmm.
not be comfortable with, but you have to do it.
So you talked about your journey to become a wrestler and how it led you to public speaking and
Such a beautiful
podcasting.
story, eh?
It is. It is. Um, but I got to ask, who is your favorite wrestler and what is your favorite professional wrestling organization?
Oh wow, like currently or ever?
Ooh, let's go with ever and then currently on both.
Okay, so for favorite wrestler that left the biggest impression on me would be Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
He's he was the one at a young age that got me addicted to wrestling. His entrance, his look, everything about Warrior was, well, except for his wrestling ability, obviously, but his entrance and his look was incredible. My favorite wrestler beyond Ultimate Warrior, once I started to understand wrestling more, would be Owen Hart and Bret Hart. They were tremendous with in ring psychology and just the simplicity of making everything look good. Favorite organization at that time growing up was definitely WWF. I
Hmm.
did not like WCW. I didn't watch it whatsoever until we started doing our podcast where we would review all the pay-per-views in order. I started to watch WCW. I'm like, wow, this is terrible. This is why I don't watch WCW. Currently, my favorite wrestler currently. Oh wow, that's such a broad question, but I love answering it. I would have to say AJ Styles.
Okay.
He is so damn good at making himself look good and making whoever he's working with look better. He's so good. My favorite wrestling promotion right now is AEW, All Elite Wrestling, because they're making me feel like wrestling can be fun again. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be so serious and doesn't have to be so highly produced where you just be like, hey, there's, botches do happen, or hey, this doesn't make sense, but we're having fun. And that's what wrestling got me, was how fun it was. So AEW is currently my number one. I don't watch much WWE no more because the storylines and just the lack of continuity just it frustrates me.
Sure.
I'm just like, I need stories to make sense, and when you guys go from one story to another story with no explanation to why it changed, it's just like I can't follow this. Especially when we play games like Destiny 2, which has an incredible story that has great continuity, right?
Yes.
Continuity is key for storytelling.
Let's see
I'm
here.
ready, Order. Give me the hardest questions you got.
Oh, I got some super hard ones.
I
I
love
got
it.
I got questions so hard. Well, one thing I just wanted to say too is the beauty of something like AEW is that like I don't want to call them the underdog, but in all honesty, WWE is kind of the massive juggernaut, right? They've got the big game coming out soon, WWE 2K, I think what 22, I think it's called, and like they're
Yippers.
kind of a juggernaut when it comes to wrestling. So if you're not them, you're going against them, and I always root for the person that is not like the main.
I love underdog stories. Love them.
Yes. Now you've talked about finding gaming to be therapeutic and beneficial for mental health. Can you elaborate on that?
100%. So when I was going through bullying my entire childhood, it was different for me than it is right now for like kids for like my kids. For example, when I got home from school, there was no social media. So that was a saving grace for me, to be honest with you. I went home and I knew for a fact I'd be safe. Like I would not
Sure.
have people attacking me on social media or messaging me. So, however, the one thing that kept me going every single day was knowing that I can come home and just play games. Obviously, completely different scenario because we didn't have online gaming either. So it was if I wanted to play with my buddy, I would have to take my controller to his house and play with him there. So completely different scenario. There was no online gaming. There was no Twitch streaming. There was nothing. It was legit. I was by myself playing games. And it was the best experience. Most of my favorite memories of my childhood were from gaming. I've always found gaming to be a way that helped me with the best part of my personality, which is being hyper creative.
Hmm.
Being ADHD and OCD and all the stuff that I'm battling with, gaming was a media that just encouraged me to be me. I can do whatever I wanted. I can be creative. Like this is back in the day where we had GoldenEye 007 on Nintendo 64. So like I can go have big head mode. I can have paintball mode. WWF No Mercy on Nintendo 64 is one of the best wrestling games of all time. It allows you to create your own superstars, edit superstars. So you can imagine someone who's hyper creative, like, oh my god, I can create whatever I want, and that consumed me. When I wasn't watching wrestling, I was playing games. If I wasn't watching wrestling, I was playing the wrestling games. Like, it just, gaming has always been the best part of my life that helped me just not necessarily escape, but have an alternative option than what I was having at school, where it's like I could just be me and not have any judgment. However, with that came addiction, where I became addicted to video games. And the reason why I became addicted is because I was focusing on video games to be an escape. Is somewhere where I constantly would run to, where it's like, okay, I'm depressed, video games. I'm angry, video games. I never confronted anything that I was dealing with head on. It was always, okay, I'm going to escape and go play games. And because of that, obviously my problems got worse because I wasn't confronting them. I wasn't dealing with them. I was just gaming. And then I realized when I was in my early 20s and I became a father, I was like, this is not healthy. I got to figure out a way that allows me to keep gaming, but it doesn't become my entirety of my life, where it's all I think about. And being that I'm neurodivergent, that isn't necessarily easy, because we go to where the dopamine is. So, and gaming is designed for dopamine hits. It's designed to give you a reward system after reward system after reward system. Oh, you played this game for 12 hours. Here's a reward for you. Here's some new outfits. Here's a new character. Like, you are constantly given a reward.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not easy. But the way I did it was I treated gaming as a reward system.
Okay.
So once I'm done all my adulting, I would play games. And
Okay,
that
that makes sense.
that mindset shift made me like, like right now, I look forward to 7 or 8 p.m. because that's when I go play Destiny 2. So the whole day I'm like, yes, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. And at 8 p.m., I'll be playing with Hoarder Online or Purple Rabbit or anyone else that plays that. I get excited because it gives me something to look forward to. And I always tell people all the time that every single day, you got to have something to look forward to, something that just gets you through the day and gets you excited. For a lot of people, it's, their Monday to Friday jobs that they hate. They look forward to the Friday nights. They look forward to the Saturday nights. Where it's like, well, that means you got to work 4 or 5 days until you get that reward. That's not going to help you mentally.
That's true.
You got to have that something every day. So every day for me, 8 p.m., I look forward to it. Where it's like, yes, I get to play my game. I get my rogue energy, get my, my favorite gaming snack. I don't know what that is for you, but for me, it's dry cereal. I love mini wheats.
Oh, see, I love cereal, but I always have a little bit, not skim milk. I don't do that, but the 2% milk I usually use.
Nice. I hate milk. So if I do drink milk, it's definitely almond milk. But I love dry cereal because I can have a bowl of mini wheats and that will last me for 3 to 4 hours. And,
wow.
and it's healthy. It's not like I'm eating chips or chocolate where I'm just like, no, I can't do this. I don't want to feel grudgy when I'm playing games. I want to feel like I'm motivated. I like to have carrots, but carrots are really loud.
I love carrots. Yeah, carrots are really hard to stream with. That's for sure.
Like, you can't stream quietly eating carrots. You can't do it. So I usually avoid that. But gaming has always helped me, and I love how gaming currently is getting so much awareness and involvement with physiotherapy and mental health overall therapy. Like, it's finally being reported that gaming actually has a lot of positive benefits to it. Once it's moderated, of course. With anything, with moderation is key, 100%. So I'm so glad that we actually have a whole bunch of doctors that have pursued becoming a doctor, but they're now like, hey, wait a minute. I want to become a doctor that's focused on helping bring to light of how gaming can help you. Like Dr. Ahmed Fredman, who we've had on our previous podcast, is very active in that community. And it's just, when you see doctors becoming involved with gaming, that right there should tell you there is something there that's positive with gaming. When I was in physiotherapy with my concussions, I was playing games. They would have me playing games for eye-hand coordination, for cognitive ability. When I'm gaming, I find that that's the best environment for me to think in, because my mind is focused. I'm calm. I can think. And some of my best creations, such as League of Valiants, came while I was playing games. League of Valiants wasn't something I just thought of out of nowhere. It was something I thought of when I was playing Avengers. I was like,
Hmm.
hey, what if I had a team? Like that is what gaming does for me. It helps me tune into my creative mindset where it's like, hey, this is awesome. And that's also known as the theta state. Theta state is where your brain enters a state of mind that you are open to creativity and passion. I don't know if you know this or not, but the reason why we spend time in the shower is because we're having fun thinking, being creative, it's a space where we have no distractions. So that's why like my showers are usually 20 minutes. I'm like, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? What if I changed this? Most of my creations came from having showers as well, where I'm like, all right, League of Valiants is this, but what if we did this? And I don't know about you or anyone else, but I love being in the theta state of mind as long and as much as I can be every day.
Yes.
I love being in a mindset where I could just create and passion is my purpose. And I always told the kids when I was mentoring them that daydreaming is crucial for mental health.
Yes.
And they're like, why does that happen? I'm like, 'cause I'll tell you why. When you're daydreaming, you're actually strengthening the part of your brain that strengthens empathy. And now with kids having so much distraction with cell phones, TV, gaming, they don't have much time to just sit down and daydream.
Yeah.
So I always tell, when I was mentoring kids, I said, just take 1 hour a day, put the phones away, put all the technology away, just sit in a chair and just daydream for 1 hour. And they're like, okay, fine. We'll try it. It's not easy, trust me, because right
No.
now we're in a society that is driven by technology. Like we're always involved somehow with technology, but that 1 hour a day to just put it all away and sit down and just dream is such a powerful tool. And that's when I became loving of meditation. Now I tried the typical sitting down meditation. That does not work for me.
Hmm.
My mind races too much. I get too distracted. So I did a lot of research and I fell in love with what's called walking meditation, where you go for a walk and you're meditating as you're walking. And I was like, that's right there. That is the best thing for me. So I fell in love then I actually studied meditation and got certified as a meditation awareness person, I guess you can say, or a coach. Because I was just like, meditation is so awesome. Like, I love it. And it's helped me a lot with anxiety. And then I started doing cold shower therapy, which is not easy.
Hmm.
When you start doing cold shower therapy, oh man, it's a shock to the system, like quickly. So the
If
way
it's
that
shock, I don't think I'd enjoy
yeah,
it.
it definitely is a learning curve. My son does it now too because he's like, Dad, it's so amazing. I'm like, yes, it is, but it takes a while to build up the endurance to do it. Like when I started doing cold shower therapy, the way that I would do it would be 20 seconds of hot water and then
Okay.
10 seconds of cold, and you just alternate that back and forth.
Ah.
Now I'm able to have cold showers for 5 minutes, and the reason why cold shower therapy is effective for not everybody, but for a lot of people who are neurodivergent, is it helps your body respond with anxiety and stress.
Hmm.
So when you start cold shower therapy, your body's immediately saying, "Get me the hell out of here." That's because your body's like, "I'm in shock. This is too much coldness. A matter of seconds, get
That's
me out."
that's my body right
And
there. Yeah.
and then what you got to do is you got to train your body to say, "No, you're safe. I'm in control right now. Like me, I control you. You don't control me." And cold shower therapy has helped me tremendously because now I respond to stress as, "I got this. Let's go." I had a 5 minute cold shower. It wakes you up. It's good for your skin. Like there's so much benefits, but it's also risky. Like there's been reported people of having cold shower therapy and then dying because they put themselves through too much shock at one time. It's like you got to gradually go into cold shower therapy. You can't just go in there because that shock could definitely be a health risk for you.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
but that was my mental health journey, is just finding resources that were meant for me.
So
Because
I think right now we should
oh
say really quickly though that anyone watching, if you're thinking about cold shower therapy, ask your physician first. So we'll
yes,
just say that.
most definitely,
Yes.
100%, because there is risk if you have some sort of like underlying conditions.
Mm.
I went through with my therapy and they're like, yes, you should definitely try it. So I tried it and I fell in love with it. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you, Hoarder. Like it's all about what's best for you. And that's one thing I learned when I was mentoring youth is we all don't find the same value from all those quotes and all those sayings. Like people always say, "Oh, well, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Yeah, sure, maybe for you, but for people who are battling depression and anxiety, everything can kill them in their mindset. Like I know
Yes.
for a fact when people say, "Oh, this won't hurt you, Dave. It'll make you stronger." Easy for you to say,
Yeah.
but when you're battling high functioning anxiety or worst case, I feel one of the worst cases of anxiety is what I have, which is illness anxiety. Because illness anxiety, you're constantly aware of anything in your body. So, for example, if I have a chest pain, I immediately go heart attack. I'm dying. So, can you imagine living a life where you feel any change in your body and your mind immediately goes, "You're dying."
That's how
Like
COVID was
it's
for me because like I
yeah,
have seasonal allergies. So every day I was thinking, "Oh my God, I have COVID." Yeah.
same here. COVID was a huge change to my mental health. It affected me greatly,
Yeah.
to the point where I was seeing my neurologist a lot more and being like, "How do I deal with this?" And unfortunately, with hypochondria, aka illness anxiety, it's so hard to treat because it's so easily triggered daily. It
Yeah.
was so bad that one year I had 4 911 phone calls. I had numerous trips to the hospital because I thought I was dying all the time. And when I get heartburn, my chest gets tight, and it feels like there's something stuck in my throat. So when I first had my heartburn episode, it felt like my throat was closing.
Mhm.
And the doctor's like, "No." He's like, "You're fine." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "This is what health anxiety does. It creates responses in your body that just make you feel like you are going through this." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." So I started doing a lot of studying with Dr. Joe Dispenza and so many other mental health doctors and psychologists. And the stuff that you learn is crazy. Like I learned about the power of thought. Like the power of thought is whatever you think, your body responds chemically, aka emotions. So
Mhm.
if you're thinking something negative all day, your body is going to produce negative emotions. And then what happens is if you do that consistently, your body can become addicted to those negative emotions. And I'm like, "What? That's crazy." So if you're someone who's negative and you're constantly feeling sad and you're constantly feeling angry, it's because your body has become so used to feeling negative that it wants you to feel negative more. I'm like, holy cow. The things that you learned, the things that I learned, that once you just sit down and you read and you study this, and it's like the brain is such a powerful tool that is not taken care of. Like when I had my concussions, majority of them were like, "Oh yeah, just go home and rest. You'll be fine." And that's
Uh,
why my neurologist said I was so susceptible to concussions because my treatment plans were terrible. It was go home, take an Advil, and relax. That's all I was told. I was like, "Doctor, I'm hallucinating. I'm having suicidal thoughts. I'm depressed." And they're like, "It's okay. It's normal. It goes away." And I'm like, "Okay, well, it's been 25 years and I'm still dealing with it. What the hell?" And that's why I'm such a big advocate right now with mental health and concussion awareness because you have one brain, you got to take care of it. Um, and that's why I started working with Unsinkable was just they gave me an opportunity to share my story about concussions, and since then we've had a great, long-standing friendship, and we're just doing such amazing things to help bring awareness to mental health, and then combining it with gaming. I'm like, this is a huge opportunity for me.
Indeed. And League of Valiants, which you are the founder of, is partnered with Unsinkable to create awareness around mental health and remove the stigma some associate with it. What was your unsinkable moment this week?
Oh, geez, you want a top 10?
Uh,
We
the
don't have time
most.
for a top
How
10.
about the most unsinkable moment?
Oh, geez. The most unsinkable moment this past week. Let's see. I have had a lot of struggle this week with what is called rejection sensitivity dysphoria, RSD, which is very common with ADHD. What rejection sensitivity dysphoria is the ability to feel as if you are going to be rejected even before you even ask someone anything.
Hmm.
I've always second guessed myself. I always feel as if I'm not worthy of success. Like this is just a constant battle I have with dysthymia, which is persistent chronic depression. Um, So my unsinkable moment this week was getting an email from a journalist from the Times London. That was huge for me because
That's awesome.
when I got the email, I woke up with brain fog. I was not doing good. I was depressed and I was not doing good mentally that day. And when I saw that email, it confirmed that, you know what, I am valuable. I do have worth. I do have value with my story and what I'm creating. So the fact that that journalist reached out to me after he could have reached out to millions of other on Twitter, it just confirmed to me that, okay, you know what, hero, you got to press what you preach, buddy.
Yeah.
No matter how much you're struggling, you still have value. So that was huge for me, but not only just for me, but for Unsinkable as well as League of Valiants, because we're all going to be featured in an article that will be published on the Times website in possibly March or April. So
Awesome.
that was massive. Huge win for me, a huge win for the team, a huge win for yourself because you're one of the co-creators of League of Valiants as well. So don't forget to say that, Hoarder, because that's the truth. It's a huge win for me. Huge win. I was so excited for that because it helped me overcome a really bad struggle that day with RSD, where I was like, I'm not going to do anything. My life sucks. And I was like, boom, all right, I have value again. And I know it may sound really off to a lot of people because they say, well, hero, like you can't place all your happiness on external events, and I get that. But when you're battling depression and anxiety, those external moments that bring you value truly help you.
Yes.
So, but you got to plant those seeds first. I believe in the law of attraction, but I also believe in the law of effort. So it's like you got to put the work in to get those results. And as you know, I'm very active on Twitter, constantly posting because I know I'm not the only one who's battling depression and anxiety and ADHD and everything, which was the main reason why League of Legends was born. Really, was to just align all of us and be like, hey, let's support one another.
That's awesome. For
What
me,
about you? What was your unsinkable moment?
my unsinkable moment was I had to have a procedure on Monday, a colonoscopy, and anytime I have to go
That's
to the
right.
doctor or like the hospital or anything, I always feel that it's going to go terribly wrong. And what I mean by that is all the aspects of it. Like we're going to get into traffic. We won't make it to the hospital in time. They're going to have to cancel the appointment. The doctor will be, working on somebody else, and there'll be an emergency. All those things go through my head, and then I had a GED. I'm sorry, not GED.
Yeah,
It's
diploma.
it's where they go with a scope down the throat and look at the stomach. Well, this is going to be a little bit different than that because it's a colonoscopy. But I had that, and they wanted to run a line, and they wanted to run it into my hand. Well, they made like 3 or 4 attempts with a needle to get a line and couldn't find a vein. And that was one of the most painful physical
Mm,
sensations I've ever had, was them trying to find the needle. And I don't know if you know about this, if they think they have the vein or they're close to it, they very slightly move the needle.
yes.
Very slightly, and it feels awful. It's like, oh my God. Well, that was really rough. And they actually had to bring in last time the anesthesiologist who had to shoot my hand up with a numbing solution, and then he was able to find the vein. So I
Wow.
was like, oh my God, do I have to go through that crap again? Luckily, I did not. So I was happy about that. But this time, to find my vein, they had to use ultrasound like you do for a baby on my arm. And they actually ran it to my arm, like right here. Um, so yeah, I was just freaked out about everything.
That's
But it went
understandable.
well. It went well. The procedure went well. One of the big things too, when I was younger, real quick, I had a sigmoidoscopy, which is like a colonoscopy, except you're awake. And I
Oh,
guess it's not quite as invasive, but it was absolutely terrible and humiliating and awful for me. And I will not go into details about it. But yeah, that was one of the absolute worst experiences of my life. This was nothing like that. I was completely out the entire time, and everything went well. So
you're making me very excited to turn 40. By the way,
Why 45? And because there's a history of colon cancer because of my grandmother, instead of age 50, I was able to have the procedure. So,
That makes sense. Okay,
yeah,
because yeah, I did research after your situation. And I was like, when's mine coming up? And it said 45 to 50. I was like, okay,
yeah,
I still got 9 years to go. I'm good.
yes. And I
Well,
think
that's
all of
a
us were freaked out with what happened with Chadwick Boseman,
yes.
because I believe Chadwick was, I want to say, 44 or 45 or something like that.
I believe it
He
was
was
42.
relatively young.
No, 43.
Was he 43? I know he was young.
Yeah, I know there was the running not joke, but meme that he starred in the movie called 42.
Oh
But then
God,
they're like, no,
yeah.
no, he passed at 43. I think it was. But his story was, man. I remember when I got that tweet that he passed away. What the hell?
Yes.
Like none of us knew
No.
anything. So that and I respect him for that though. The fact that he kept it quiet, I respect that the most. However, I also felt bad for him because there was that one live stream he did where he was talking to the fans, but he was so skinny. And
Yes.
everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people in the chat were calling him out for doing drugs or whatever it may be. And
Yeah.
then we found out he was battling colon cancer, and it's like, guys, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all,
Yeah.
because you have no idea what anyone's going through. Like I remember when I first started streaming, the first couple weeks I started streaming, I was live, but I was not well, like mentally. I was like putting on a show,
Hmm.
and I'm like, you never know what someone's going through. Like Robin Williams, when he passed from depression and he died by suicide, it shocked me. I was like, holy cow, this guy was always so happy. But it brings reality to life to you. Like you can have all the millions of dollars in the world, but if you're not mentally well or you're not fulfilled with life, mine doesn't matter. And that's why I've made the mindset of I'm not chasing dollars. I'm chasing legacy, where it's like I want to have fun and just be happy and be fulfilled, especially after losing 5 friends to suicide and dealing with suicide myself.
Yeah.
I want to live a life where I'm just happy as much as I can be. And I will say, Hoarder, some of the best moments of my life this last year has been gaming with you
Oh,
and
thank you.
the other Valiants on Avengers, even though Avengers has its issues.
Yes, it
It
does.
was always a lot of fun. So like I'm just happy to be able to be gaming with people and just having fun, experiencing Destiny 2 with all these millions of players. I feel like going like the Rock there, millions and millions of gamers. Like it's just oh man, when I think of gaming, I just think of fun and just
Yes.
laughter. And that's what League of Advance is all about. Like for those who aren't aware, because you're not part of our team officially, but in our team chat, we have fun. We joke
Yes.
around, we support one another, and it's like, you know what? That's what League of Balance is all about. Just about having fun, doing what we love, and just help bring an awareness to mental health, which is what we all battle. So I'm very proud of League of Valiants. I'm also very proud of all the Valiants involved and the ones that are possibly coming soon. That's right. I'm in talks with a lot of people coming on board
Awesome.
eventually. I want us to be a big team, but
Yes.
not too big. Like I don't want us to be like the NWO and WCW where we have 40 people, and people get lost in the shuffle. I want us to be like a close knit family, and that takes time to build. It takes time to build. But this podcast was created as a way to just help build that up.
Hmm.
Like next Sunday we have Doom on the podcast,
Awesome.
which I'm really excited for.
Yeah, a Doom Killer HD. That's going to be awesome.
Yep, he's next Sunday, so just get ready, guys. There's a
Yeah.
lot coming for League of Valiants. A lot coming beyond the article with the times. We have so much to come with in regards to interviews, and I'm excited for the future for
Me
all of
too.
us.
I'm also very excited for it. Yes. I think it's going really well. Now you mentioned video gaming, so I got to ask this: what games are you currently excited about, and what games are you looking forward to playing? A little bit of a lighter question.
I am massively hyper fixated right now on Destiny 2.
I am too.
Like that
Truth be
game,
told, I am too.
that game has taken over my gaming life. Like it is all I play every single day. I think of like, hey, you know what? Maybe tonight I'll take a break and play some Division 2, or I'll play some, Last of Us. No, it never happens. I go on. It's immediately Destiny 2, especially with the Witch Queen coming out in 2 days.
Yeah.
I am over the moon excited. Now, games that are coming, We don't know yet when they're coming, but they're coming, which is
Yes,
Gotham Knights.
definitely. I'm super psyched.
So
As you can see, I've got the Knights
yeah,
behind me there. I got
yeah,
Robin.
and no one asked for you to show off right now, Hoarder.
I know it's your interview. I know. I know.
like I said, I'm not jealous at all. So Gotham Knights, I'm definitely excited for. I'm excited for Suicide Squad. Um, I'm even now. Here's the thing. This may shock you or the viewers that may watch this now or later. I'm not really a big Star Wars fan. Never really have been. Um,
I know
but
that.
this,
The viewers may
but
not, but I know that.
the, but the Lego Star Wars game has me very
It
intrigued.
looks amazing, and the technology behind it looks absolutely
Is
absurd.
so
Random
if I
encounters where you can take over Imperial starships and stuff. Wow.
yeah, like I've only watched one Star Wars movie in its entirety, and that was
That's
where
nothing to
Hans.
brag about, sir.
No, it's not. I'm embarrassed to say it, but it was the one where Han Solo dies. Is that Force Awakens?
Yes.
That's the one I saw with my son. That's the only one I've seen. So I was like, oh god, I don't know what's happening. But the game, the fact that it allows you to go through every single movie, that excites me because it's like, you know what? I don't have to watch a 3 hour movie. I just go play a game and learn. So that has me excited. W2K22, obviously, for obvious reasons. Um, and then I'm even interested into Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
I am too, because I do like the
That
Borderlands series.
it goes against what I'm usually against, which is the graphics. I don't usually like that kind of animation, but the idea with that game is due to the animation, it allows you so much more opportunity for gameplay and
Yes.
features. So I was like, I'm kind of interested in that game as well. Spider-Man 2, obviously.
Oh god, yeah.
Uh,
2023 though, but yeah,
yeah, Wolverine.
2023 possibly. No.
So there's a oh my god, even Lost Ark has my attention a little bit, but
I
my
know my PC
laptop,
won't apparently
yeah,
run it though. It's like
my laptop will probably be the same situation where I can't run it, but it does seem pretty exciting to like see, especially when they had the great launch that they had. They had
I
over
know.
500 million, or sorry, 500 million, 500,000 concurrent players. I'm like, that's crazy. And it's still very active on Twitch. It's funny how we determine success for games on Twitch viewers sometimes. Have you
Yes, that
noticed that?
is. That
Or
is.
it's like, hey, that game is being viewed a lot. It must be a lot of fun. Dying Light 2, I mean, I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to try that. Now, a game that you got me interested in is Horizon. Um,
Awesome. Very cool.
my
I just finished the first one. It was phenomenal.
yeah, my plan is I have a PS5 on layaway because they're hard to find, so I have it on layaway to pay it off. But my plan with that is to get Horizon 1 and 2
Awesome.
and play them both. I'm not really big into streaming now, video games. I'll be honest with you. The reason why is I find that when I'm gaming and streaming, I'm not enjoying the game as much. So that's why I don't stream games. It's nothing personal, because I don't want to talk to you while I'm gaming. It's just I can't focus on gaming and chat and technology. That's why I stopped streaming games. But I'm very excited to play those games offline. There's also I tried playing Warframe, wasn't really feeling it.
It's not
However,
for everybody, but I got into it. At first, I was not feeling it at
yeah,
all.
my biggest issue was the UI, the user interface. I was so overwhelmed with things to read and look at. I was like, whoa. One thing I will give credits to Bungie for and Destiny 2 is their UI. I feel for me is neurodivergent friendly. I know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
I don't feel overwhelmed. That's what I had issue with Avengers was everything was just in your face, and I'm like, whoa. With Destiny 2, it's all by like tabs. So it's like, okay, I can go tab 1, tab 2. So that's huge.
Hmm.
There was one more game. Oh my goodness, what was it?
Was it Suicide Squad, or I'm not trying to give you answers.
I said Suicide Squad, so that one's definitely on the list, but there was one more game that I'm really excited about. What the heck? Oh, the AEW game. There's an all elite wrestling game coming out as well.
Oh, awesome!
Um,
Do you know what Dev is doing that?
well, it's Ukes.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
the story with Ukes is the reason why WB2K20 had its issues is because Ukes left their partnership with 2K literally a month before release. And then we found out they left to go do this AEW game. The reason why, the main reason I'm excited for AEW's game is they have the director who is heavily involved with WWF No Mercy, part of their team. So I'm like, that guy made one of the best video games of all time,
Also,
and
that's
he's
one of the
part.
best ones in series.
Yeah, it's WWF No Mercy is literally top 3 wrestling game of all time. It's so damn good. But yeah, gaming gaming is on a huge rise.
Yes.
COVID definitely helped the gaming industry completely because I noticed that Twitch is averaging 70 million hour view times a month. It's
Wow.
crazy. It is crazy how big gaming's projected to make over $170 billion. Esports is making more money than most national sports combined. So it's gaming's huge. It is massive. I'm not really big in the esports, but I respect it. I respect the hustle, the grind. I personally don't like it because I don't like being stressed when I'm playing games. That's why I'm so thankful for the game mode Gambit in Destiny 2 because it has that competitive feel to it, but it's not all competitive, you know. But I'm very excited for the future of gaming. There are so much good games coming out. So if you're a gamer, you are, as they say, eating well.
Yes, you're definitely eating well, and if you're a fan of superheroes, you're totally eating well.
Oh man, so much stuff coming out.
The
Don't
Wonder
even
Woman
get
game in
started.
2023 as well, from the makers of the Lord of the Rings series that came out, like Shadow of Mordor in those games.
They literally gave what a 13-second teaser for Wonder Woman, and I was really like, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a rumor that I think Marina Baccarin might be doing the voice of Wonder Woman in the game, but that just has to do with a tweet that she had. So no one knows if that's, if they looked at it the wrong way or if that was what she was leading to. But that would be awesome if that's true.
And that's just the gaming side. Like, look at the media side in regards to TV series and movies coming out. It's crazy. Like, I have no time with my kids, to be honest with you. It's like I have all these TV shows. I haven't watched Peacemaker yet. So it's like
it's so good.
I have so much to get caught up on where I gotta like schedule periods to watch TV shows because right now I'm addicted to Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. I don't know if you guys have ever watched those shows, but they're intense.
Like procedurals, but I know those shows are really popular. They wouldn't have their
so
own
good.
Night. If it was their own Chicago night, they wouldn't have
one Chicago. Yeah, like I thought it was very creative that they had like a multiverse for emergency responders. I'm like, everything's multiverse. Have you noticed that? Everything's going multiverse now. Multiverses, that's the game. Multiverses.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Should be awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, that's right. You're American, so you say multiverse. I say multiverses because I'm Canadian. But yeah, so much to look forward to for League of Valiants. So much to look forward to for Unsinkable. Rogue Energy. I'm addicted to Rogue Energy. I love that stuff. So things are looking good. Cool. But if I were to have like a Jerry Springer final thought moment, for all those who are battling depression or anxiety, I understand that you may feel alone, but you're not. Like 100%. There's 7+ billion people on Earth, and I guarantee a lot of us are here to listen. So you can find League of Valiants on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. We're everywhere, and we're growing. We're except for Snapchat. I've never liked Snapchat though, so I don't know if we'll be there.
But we're all the apps we don't like. It won't be on this app and this app.
No. Mixer. It won't be on Mixer.
It won't be on Mixer. That's true. That's true. Probably not on MySpace either.
Probably not. Or Nexopia. Remember Nexopia?
Kinda, sort of.
Kinda, sorta. We're everywhere. We're what you say would be omnipresent, is what we are.
And I'm going to end this chat with another fun little question here. Who's your favorite Marvel superhero, and who's your favorite DC superhero?
Marvel Hulk, but it's a close tie with Punisher. Very close tie. Especially that one comic where they have the Punisher fight the Hulk. Oh my god. Love it. That's a hard question because I have a top 5 for Marvel. DC for superhero, right? Not character, but it's just primarily superhero. Mm-hmm. Batman.
Yeah, I know too.
I know he's annoyingly suggested and mentioned the most. But I'll explain why. Me personally, for Batman,
Sure.
not necessarily for Batman himself, but for his villain squad.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
has one of the best rogues galleries in comics.
that's it. Rogues galleries. That's the
I'd say
term.
Spider-Man and Batman, and Dick
The
Tracy. Those
best.
are probably the top three. Yeah,
Dick Tracy.
yeah. Seriously,
So
the villains are
random.
phenomenal. Phenomenal
But
villains.
Batman's villains, I love the most. Joker, huge fan of Joker. Love
Yeah,
Harley Quinn. You can make a Batman story about any of his villains, and I'll read it. Like you can bring a comic series focused on Batman and Clayface, and I will read it
I love
because
Clayface because it's actually
they.
that and Mister Freeze. You actually feel sorry for those
Yes,
characters.
Mr. Freeze. I feel sorry for him every time they have him in the game or a movie,
Hmm.
where it's like I want him to win. I want him to get what he wants. But if you were to ask me, like, which do I prefer, Marvel or DC, I would say Marvel for the fact that I find myself more relatable to their characters a
Oh,
lot more than
okay.
I do. Because DC focus on gods, right? They focus on
Yes.
godlike
They focused on
characters.
Greek and Roman gods, I
I
believe.
can't say I relate to Superman. I'm sorry. But I can say I relate to Spider Man because of bullying. I relate to Hulk because of anger management when I was struggling with my emotional regulation growing up with not really understanding what ADHD meant. I can relate with the Punisher because there's been moments where I wanted to get vengeance and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. I can relate to Captain America for the fact that you just want to be the best and lead the best. So it's like I find myself more relatable to Marvel's characters than DC's. However, I would not want to face most of DC's villains.
Yeah, that's true. And
Like I'm good.
one thing I will say real quick though about that is that with DC heroes, there's one thing they almost all have in common: feelings of isolation. So you've
Mm-hmm.
got like this alien from another planet. You have this a woman from this like secluded island and like away from that island and now in our world and everything. And you have all these characters. A character that lives under in the oceans and now is on land. You know, you have this interesting level of isolation they feel between where they're from and who they are.
100% agree. Like
Yeah.
comics overall are just so good for mental health as well. Like I remember I didn't like I told you I didn't grow up in comics. I grew up on TV and movies that um, introduced me to the comics. Like for example, the X-Men animated series, the Batman animated series, and then came the Spider-Man animated series, and I was like, holy cow, these are amazing. And then came comics. And I'm like, I don't want to read. I don't want to read. I want to watch this stuff. But then I started buying the graphic novels because I like having the entire series in one read.
Yeah, it is
That I
very
do like.
nice, but
Expensive.
yes.
It's
It can
expensive.
also be hard to wait that 9 months till it comes out because,
Exactly.
like,
Is
depending on the book, they can make you wait 6 to 9 months after.
That's true. Like that current run that you're reading for Spider-Man. Is it Spider-Man where they're releasing one new one every week?
Yes, Beyond is every week. At one point,
That
it was 3 times a month, and now it seems to be every week.
that graphic novel is going to be huge,
It's going to have to be in volumes. It'll have to be volume one and volume two.
right?
I mean, I don't see how it'd be affordable otherwise. The
Actually, sorry, another comic I got recently into is Walking Dead. Completely different than the show.
Yeah,
Let me say that because when I read the volume one Walking Dead and I read about the relationship between Andrea and the old guy Dale, that's a completely different relationship than what you see on the TV show.
yeah,
So, and also, just so you guys know, they have toned down Walking Dead graphically compared to the comics because
yeah.
when I read about the prison situation in Walking Dead and I see the
That's the
prison,
trait I got.
oh man, it's insane. But
Yes.
another thing that I'm really big into is zombies. I love zombies. Thank you, George A. Romero. Like
Yeah.
zombies, I grew up on. People will say you should not watch violent shows growing up. I grew up watching zombies. Okay, I grew up watching horror flicks like Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. Like oh man, Dead by Daylight is a game I recently bought but I have not played. But I'm very excited to play that. Back for Blood, I want to get that as well. From watching you get frustrated, I'm like, you know what? I want to give that a go and see if I can do better than Hoarder did when he was streaming with Doom Squad Gaming.
Well, I
Also,
honestly think they
actually,
could do better than the Hoarder and the people Hoarder was playing with.
also, I think it's a great opportunity to say that League of Valiants and Doom Squad Gaming do have a collaboration in effect. And there'll probably be some announcements coming up in regards to Doom Squad Gaming and League of Valiants. And maybe we'll have some information about an upcoming Assemble for charity. Who knows?
Awesome.
League of Valiants is interested in collaboration because why, Hoarder? We are not here to be the best. We're here to help everybody else be at their best.
Yes.
Right? Or as Doom Squad says, we're here rocking with the best,
You're rocking with the best, yes.
Exactly. So be excited for League of Valiants. Be excited if you're a mental health advocate or if you love mental health and you love gaming, we have the best of both worlds for you.
Yes, we definitely do. And Dave Body, I want to thank you very much, Hero Mentor.
I want to thank you for saying my name properly. People always say Bodhi. Always. I don't know
what
why.
I think of, real quick, the movie Clue, the comedy from the 80s, the person that invites them all to the dinner party is Mr.
You are
Body.
so old. You are so old.
I'm not that old. Was
like,
88,
I remember when I first came across your stream and you were talking about like movies you enjoyed. You were doing a top 5 of your favorite movies or something, and the movies, every movie you mentioned, I'm like, what is that? I've never heard this movie. I'm like, how old is this guy?
They're all silent films.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
It's only Buster Keaton. And,
See, I don't know who that is. Who the hell is Buster Keaton?
And DeMille. It's like, just, yeah. Thomas
man.
Edison shorts. That's it. The silent shorts that Thomas Edison made.
Like, I remember growing up with watching Abbott and Costello.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably like your primetime Saturday shows, right? I could have, with like Transformers and Sonic the Hedgehog and Mega Man, which is getting a live action now, by the way, which I'm interested to see that. Oh man, we could talk for hours though, Hoarder. We can really talk for.
But we probably shouldn't. We would have.
We've done that in the past.
Much for watching us, and again, I want to thank our guest today, the leader of
the Vince McMahon of League of Valiants.
You don't want to say the Vince McMahon.
No.
How about the nicer, saner Vince McMahon of
I accept
Valiants. But thank you very much, Dave Body, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
You as
and
well.
Thank
you,
everyone, for joining us. Next week we are back with another awesome podcast, and I believe it is Doom Killer we're interviewing next week, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. So Doom Killer HD is going to be here, and we're going to interview him. He interviewed me on Friday, so this should be fun.
He did.
I'm looking forward to this.
We are going to raid Suki.
Awesome. Suki is okay. Excellent streamer. Definitely come and check out her awesome show. So yeah, we want to thank everyone very much for watching, and we hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
See you on Sunday. Let's go raid. Just gotta wait the 10 seconds. I keep forgetting that there's always a 10 second between you can hit.
I know.
So,
right?
With that being said, guys, see you next Sunday for Doom Squad leader Doom Killer.
Yes.